today's video, I've got probably the coolest SUV on the market right now. It just hit dealerships. This is the Genesis GV80. Let's get to it. So first, I want to apologize if it's windy out here. We just had a storm go through, but I couldn't miss the chance to review this car as soon as possible. So welcome back to the channel, guys. This is Austin with Austin Area Automotive. Today we're reviewing the Genesis GV80, the most anticipated SUV probably in the past decade. Genesis has been a brand to keep your eyes on, and today they have finally brought their best of the best in the industry to dealerships. And just look at this thing. This thing is beautiful. Every aspect of this vehicle is gorgeous. They did a home run on this thing. I mean, I couldn't be more impressed with an SUV right out the gate. Everybody calls this the poor man's Bentayga, the most luxurious SUV on the planet. I mean, you name it, people call it. It's amazing. Today, we're going through it, and I couldn't get my hands on this vehicle without the help of Ed Voiles Hyundai here in Smyrna, Georgia. Thank you to Reid Glenn and thank you to Keith. He's one of the managers here. You guys have been terrific. Again, you guys treat me like a king here, and I could not be able to do this review without you guys, so I definitely appreciate it. And then if you guys love this video, definitely like it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell in the top right hand corner. That way you get alerts every time that I review a vehicle. So in saying that, let's get to this beast. Another big thank you to Ed Voiles Hyundai here in Smyrna, Georgia. They have a huge inventory, as you can see. Hyundais, you've got Genesis, including this beauty here, which I'm going to be reviewing. And then look at that GV80 back there. So if you're in the market for a Hyundai or a Genesis, definitely hit them up. Look at their inventory. I'm going to send the link down below. And if you guys need to, definitely ask for Reid. He's been a huge help in all of this. So let's start off with the front end of the GV80. Right off the bat, you're going to notice two things. One, this beautiful grille. It is a diamond shaped or jewel shaped, as some people like to call it. It is huge but beautiful. It just emulates luxury. It looks very nice. You got a front view camera here because you do have a 360-degree camera. You got your brick for the radar cruise control, and unlike previous Genesis models, it is actually integrated cleanly into the bottom mesh grille, not into the middle area here. Very good doing that, Genesis. Up top, you got the Genesis badge that looks amazing. I've always been a fan of the Genesis badge. Looks high-end, feels high-end. This is a metal piece. This is not plastic. Looks amazing. Let's talk headlights. These are full LED headlights. You've got a split headlight theme going on. As you can see, you've got your indicators here, and you got your running lights. They are actually one whole unit here, which is really cool. You got an air dam on the side. It is functional. You got your front parking sensors, and then look at this chrome. It is just nicely integrated into the bumper here. Very clean. It just gives you that luxurious essence to the vehicle, okay? Not only that, down here, this grille is actually functional as well. This is a mesh grille, and then the painted bottom lip looks really nice, okay? Now, one thing you want to note, over here, this headlight unit is going to be the starting point for the whole line of the car, and I'm going to go through it in just a little bit. Like I said, that headlight unit starts a line that goes all the way across the car. Look at this. Everybody sees this chrome trim, and they're like, wow, that's nice trimming. What you don't see is that this is also an indicator. So instead of putting an indicator on the mirror, they have it on the side of the car. That is a fantastic attention to detail, and one of the best ways they could have utilized a body line on this car, especially integrating it with the chrome trim, so that way when it's not on, it blends in nicely. That was fantastically done. Really well done, Genesis. And let's talk about the wheels here. These are 20-inch wheels. You do have optional wheels that are actually larger. That's going to be on a Prestige model. I'm going to actually review one later on this week, hopefully. But this one is a 265/50 R20, so wrapped in Michelin's, of course, and the style of the wheel It is a little bit more generic, but I still think it looks really nice, really sporty. It's not overstyled. I can tell they played it safe on this model, which rightfully so. This is probably the most competitive luxury SUV segment. I think they did really good with it. Of course, you've got bigger wheel options, so they saved that for higher trim levels. But this one, really well done, Genesis. And just one thing, look how huge the brakes are in this thing. Just massive. So that must mean this one has a bigger engine, which it does. Let's continue. So while we're on the topic of lighting, let's look at the fact that the rear lights mimic the front end. So you see you've got your running lights that are kind of a hollow look to them. Looks fantastic. You got your indicators here, which look amazing. As you can see, it's a split light view. Really well done. Sometimes simple is better. In this case, it's much better. A lot of car companies, they're overstyling their cars. Genesis went something super simple and it worked out amazing for them. In the back, you got your GV80 badge. You got Genesis all the way across. Everybody knows I'm a fan of that. You got your four-wheel drive badge here, or all-wheel drive. I can't tell if that's an A or a 4. Either way, it works out well. I'm just going to go with all-wheel drive on this one, actually. 3.5T badge. This is the bigger motor, twin-turbo V6, 375 horsepower, almost 400 foot-pounds of torque. This thing's got power. So 3.5T, and then you've got your reflectors built in cleanly into the rear, and then you do have this chrome strip here, and you have dual exit exhaust. And if you look, guys, again, sorry for the wind noise, look here. This is shaped just like the Genesis wings and is shaped just like the grille. So if you're wondering where they're getting the shapes from, they're emulating that Genesis badge anywhere they can. Really well done. And then the reverse lights are actually built into the bumper here. Looks amazing. Super, super well done. And then one other thing to make note of, wiper, it is actually at the bottom. I really wish they put it at the top. I'm surprised they didn't, but it still looks clean. And then the button for the tailgate, it's actually integrated into the wiper stalk. So it's actually right there. And then you have this huge third brake light here. Goes all the way across. Looks absolutely beautiful. No complaints there. Really well done, Genesis. Let's get inside. We are in the Genesis GV80. Right off the bat, you're going to see that this is a beautiful interior. Nice leather. This is a lighter interior contrast. Digital gloss black buttons, which look amazing. You've got dials for the climate controls, touch for pretty much everything else. Down here, real wood grain. It is an open pore wood grain. Feels so good. Crystal, circle, and then you see these metal accents here. This is the volume knob, tuning knob. Of course, you got your hard buttons here to help control the infotainment system. And then you got your trackpad here, which is nice. The dial for that 8-speed transmission. And then look here, drive mode button with the all-wheel drive lock, the surround camera system. Looks amazing. In here, you got your cup holders. You can see this little riveted texture. You're going to find that a lot in the interior if you haven't noticed already. Between there, on the side of there. I mean, you're finding it everywhere. So let's talk about what's going on here, okay? So you got your wireless charger there, fast charge USB, and then of course you got a USB port for data transfer, things like that. Like I said, dual zone climate controls. You can see everything here is touch, ventilated seats, heated seats. You get haptic feedback, which is really nice. You can turn the dial, digital display, which is so nice. 14-inch screen. It is actually touch screen as well, so they did not leave people hanging there. So you can do anything that you want with it. So you can have access through there, I mean, you name it. See, look at that. Absolutely amazing. And they made it so easy to use too. So very, very intuitive. Look at that, zoom in, zoom out. I mean, absolutely amazing. In the middle here for the advanced model, you do have a nice digital cluster on the right hand side, and then you have an analog cluster on the left hand side. I will say the left hand side cluster, or gauge rather, definitely reminds me of something from Aston Martin. On the right hand side, it is completely digital. You have different readouts for different pieces of information depending on what you want to see. And then of course you have the familiar blind spot view monitor. Both sides are actually going to be right there. And then up there you can see you have your heads-up display. So really nice. Steering wheel, the most controversial aspect of this car. I'm a huge fan of it. I really am. I love it. I've always been a fan of it. The two-spoke design, I think it just looks very luxurious, but in a futuristic sense. Some people don't agree. As you can see, you have this metal finish, which looks really nice. The buttons, again, this turn wheel here, oh, it just feels so good. Same thing on this side, and then the Genesis badge, which I love. On this side here, you still have the same riveting texture that you find in a lot of the interior of this car. You have that texture on the buttons, again, metal finish. Memory seats, and look at this wood grain, absolutely beautiful. And this stitching on the door card with this leather inlay, it is just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And guys, look at the leather that shows up on the side of the door. And then you got your electronic parking brake and your release for your tailgate there. And look at that, the end of the wiper stalk, that metal finish. They could have gone standard with just the black plastic, but again, they went with that metal finish. Same thing with the paddle shifters on the steering wheel. Metal finish, which is really nice. Super nice. Leather wrapped steering wheel, by the way, as you'd expect. Very nice, very soft. And this is a very thick steering wheel, actually. I'm gonna make note of that right now. It's incredibly thick. So definitely performance inspired. So now, in saying that, why don't we look at the most important thing to me? Frameless mirror. Look at that. Beautiful. Auto dimming, you've got your home link there. Frameless, absolutely stunning. Up here, you've got LED interior lighting, which has that same riveting texture. Looks incredible. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. And then look at that sunglass holder. When you put it up, look at that material. Just beautiful. So why don't we take a look at what's going on in the back seat. So in the back seat, it is going to be a bench. You see that beautiful leather continues. Look at the texture in the leather. The perforation just looks beautiful. Same thing with the piping. You've got the one-touch entry system. You see that same motif, that rivet there. You've got a lever here so that if you want to change the angle of the seat back, you can do so. In the middle as well, you've got digital output for the rear climate controls. The second row is heated, and then you do have a household outlet, and then you do have your fast charge USB. You have a panoramic sunroof. And then on top of that, you do have manual window shades on this model. Prestige model will have power window shades, but I'll show you that soon. And then you can see the leather that just goes into the door card. Absolutely beautiful Genesis. Beautiful. Look at these speaker grills. Metal mesh finish. Just looks incredible. You have a smaller storage pocket there, not really fit for a cup or anything, just maybe a snack. And then, like I said, Lexicon sound system on this one. Genesis badging on the door card. Looks amazing. And then you have this rivet here for grip if you're getting into the third row. And then look at this. Look at that. Beautiful. Now, I want to make note. This button folding down the seat. Okay, that button's also going to help with a few things if you get a third row model, and that's going to be called the Advanced Plus model. This one again is just the Advanced, so this one does not have the third row. So just make note of that on this one, okay? Another thing I want to point out is right here, look at this. If you're in this seat back here and you want to adjust the front seat, look at that. You can adjust the seat back, you can adjust that seat just from the comfort of here, or if you're in the driver's seat. Absolutely amazing. beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And look at those vents. Surrounded in that satin metal finish, just looks really, really nice. So getting into the trunk of the GV80, you'll notice speaker grill in the back. They could have just gone with a plastic mesh grill, but they went with a metal speaker grill. That is fine attention to detail. Back here, you've got interior lighting that is LED. You've got buttons to release the second row on command. Very nice. And look how much space you have, guys. A ton. See the mask? Look at that. Mask. My equipment there. You got the books there. And then, like I said, LED lighting. You have the stainless steel guard here, so if you're loading the vehicle, you don't have to damage anything. And then look at that metal. Feels really nice. Under here you do have storage, but you can see the cargo cover there is actually stored away, which is really, really nice. So, and then you have a 12-volt power outlet. So the seats, as they are mechanically released via these buttons, they do not go up via those buttons. So you'd have to reserve that for the Prestige model. So let's talk more about the infotainment system, shall we? So looking into this infotainment system, okay, you are going to notice certain things. So like I said, it is touchscreen. Got the home button there. You're going to see a lot of things that you'll find in a lot of Hyundai Kia models. Sounds of nature. You've got the passenger talk, quiet mode that you'll find, say, in the Palisade, Telluride, Sorento, Santa Fe, etc. You got your climate control app there. You've got something that you won't find in a lot of the other cars, and that's seat. If you look here, you can see forward, recline. You've got the cushion height, cushion tilt, all that you can access from this app, which is really, really nice. You got voice memos you can do, connected services, media, Sirius XM, navigation, and map. So really, really nice. This whole screen, again, is 14 inches and some change, and it's just astounding that it's this big, but it feels really nice. It is a little further away from the driver, so you might have to reach a little bit just to touch it, but not the worst thing in the world, especially because you can actually control it with this little dial pad here. So that's something that's really nice. Another thing I want to talk about is something that I love the most. Let's put this thing in reverse and let's see what happens. Look at that. So you have your surround view camera system, pretty commonplace amongst a lot of cars. Let's tap this image. Look at that. Shows you an outside view of the Genesis. Look at that. Steering wheel turns, so do the wheels in the picture. Look at that. Look at that. Real time. I was told that the system works up to 9 or 10 miles an hour. And look what happens when you put it into drive. You see, you can press that button again, turns it on, and look at this. This is like augmented reality. It shows it in real time. Is that not insane or what? And it's accurate too. It's completely accurate. This just blows my mind that this even exists. BMW started this, implemented in a Rolls-Royce, but look at this. Genesis has executed it really, really well. Very well done, Genesis. Fantastic feature. It is one of a kind. I think you did really well with it. All right, this is actually super exciting. So we're stepping into the GV80 now, and this is Reid. He's along for the ride because this is a specialty vehicle and they don't take any chances, obviously, which is perfectly fine, definitely respectable. So the first thing that I want to make note of, and it's something that I told Reid when we went on our first test drive, is how heavy the steering is in this thing. You can definitely tell they wanted to emulate a more sporty experience with the driving, and they definitely ace that. You know, I've driven quite a lot of BMWs, and that's the first thing that came to mind when I felt the steering. It's very direct, but it's very, very heavy, but in a good way. And this is in comfort mode from what I understand, so this thing is just amazing. And then next is how quiet it is in here. I mean, shoot, this is probably one of the quietest interiors I've ever heard in an SUV. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, super quiet.
I mean, this thing is just serene. You're definitely excluded from the world, which is something that you want when you're spending quite a bit of money. And the price sticker on this one you said was what?
It's around
$66,000. And this thing is, for the most part, pretty well equipped, probably fully loaded, minus some small things that you get with a prestige package. But $66,000 for a car that's got more equipment than some $85,000 BMWs and Mercedes.
Absolutely.
Just absolutely incredible. You know, the view around is very nice. You don't really have any blind spots, but it doesn't matter because you have that blind spot view monitor. And then with that dual pane sunroof, which is common amongst all SUVs nowadays, it just feels very airy. The motor definitely has a lot of power. Like I said, 375 horsepower, almost 400 foot-pounds of torque. This thing is a monster. It does actually sound very similar to the 3.8 that's in the Palisade, which is interesting, but probably similar family of motor. Man, this thing is sweet.
It is.
I love this thing. You know, the outside is definitely a very striking aspect of the car, but the inside is definitely a fantastic place to be. Everything is real. The metal is real. The wood is real. Even the gloss black finishes on the buttons feels absolutely amazing. The gauge cluster, even though the left side is an analog gauge cluster, it reminds me of something out of Aston Martin. It looks incredibly high quality. This thing is amazing. I'm just so impressed because, like, this is their first entry into the SUV market and they aced this. Like, aced it. Holy cow. This is amazing. All the materials just feel super high quality. I guess he wants to go out. I don't know if that's gonna work. Oh, yeah, you're good. Man. Have you already gone on test drives with people in these things?
Yes, people love them.
Oh, man. What do you think is the biggest compliment you get to the vehicle so far?
Well, really the looks of the vehicle and the smoothness of the 8-speed shift-by-wire transmission is just so buttery smooth, and the sportiness of it too. It's the best of all worlds. So it's a luxury vehicle, but can also be a sporty vehicle.
Right, and I think that's something that people aren't going to expect necessarily, because you look on the outside and it definitely looks very elegant, very luxurious. But when you actually drive it, you're like, holy cow, this thing handles like it's on rails.
It really does.
Which is amazing. It's just so quiet. There's like no road noise. I can barely hear the tires. Barely. Like, I hear more of the engine than I do the tires. And just like you said, that 8-speed transmission, I mean, no matter where you put the throttle, it shifts and it puts you right where you want to be.
Absolutely.
Like, even if you put it in different drive modes, it just reacts instantly. That's awesome. Holy cow.
And the quietness of the cabin and the technology with Genesis. You know, waiting this long to come out with an SUV, they wanted to make it right, and I think they hit a home run with this.
Oh, yeah. You know, and that's something that can't be said about a lot of car companies. You know, you see Toyota try to do something with Scion for the longest time, granted not a luxury brand, but they try to implement new technologies and things like that with that brand, and they just didn't work out. This is executed perfectly. I think there's a trim level for everybody. It's not like, you know, older Genesis where you had pretty much only 2 trim levels, you know, with the, you know, when it was back into the Hyundai nameplate, you had either the V6 or the 5.0 Ultimate. Now you've got how many, like 4 or 5 different trim levels on this
quite
SUV?
quite a few trim levels. We have 2 engines. We have a 2.5 4-cylinder with 300 horsepower, and then the 3.5 twin turbo 375.
Which 300 horsepower is still super strong. And for it to be a 4-cylinder, I mean, holy cow. I can't even imagine. You're getting all the yellow lights today. But even, that's just such a quick shift. You use the paddle shifters and it just goes right to it. That's awesome. Downshift. Holy cow, that's so fast. Oh my goodness.
That's where you can get
Wow.
into the sportiness of the vehicle.
Yeah.
So whatever
Holy
mood
cow.
you're in, you know.
Yeah, I was not expecting it to be that fast. That felt like a dual clutch. Wow.
It definitely puts a smile on your face driving it.
It
that's
really
for sure.
does, yeah. It's very nimble, you know, and everybody wants to say, you know, it's just a Hyundai at the end of the day. It's not. I mean, Hyundai's the parent company, but this is not a badge engineered vehicle. It's really not. There's not a single Hyundai piece in this cabin. Another yellow light. I mean,
Yep, Genesis is a breakaway brand. I mean, we've in 2018 we broke away completely, so it's its
Yeah.
own separate brand. And JD Power has put them as the top brand for the last many years.
yeah,
For
and
initial quality,
yeah.
yes.
And dependability. It's the
Mhm.
only company, from what I read, in the past 20 years to actually dethrone Lexus, which says a lot, especially about a young company too.
We call it Young Luxury,
I
like our
believe
Super
it.
Bowl commercial.
I believe it.
We introduced this.
Holy cow, man. This thing is just incredible. So I truly think this is going to be a huge chunk of the market share. I truly do. Between the price, even if this thing was $80,000 fully loaded, it would still be very comparable to the Germans. And I think Genesis is definitely going to steal a ton of market share with this thing. Absolutely blown away. Wow. And the brakes in this car feel super smooth too. Holy cow. Let's park this bad boy. Do you want me to back it in or just pull straight ahead?
You can pull straight ahead.
Perfect.
Okay.
So again, I really do thank you for letting me take this thing out. I'm gonna press this parking button because that's one of my favorite things. That's so cool.
Yep.
That's awesome. Press P for park. Yeah, I definitely really appreciate it. So
Absolutely.
amazing vehicle. I'm surprised you keep these things in stock.
Yeah, they sell. They sell out quick. They sell out quick.
Again, big thank you to you. And you know, you've been a big help in this. You know, I've got the G80 over there that I'm going to review soon, and then when the Prestige model gets back in town, I'll review that one.
Yep, being Thursday, I think. We'll have it
Perfect.
Thursday.
Perfect. So be on the lookout for that, and definitely a big help from Ed Voiles Hyundai here in Smyrna, Georgia. So thank you again.
You're welcome.
So. Woo.